Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned in to 13signsastrology.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. On this particular episode, we're going to talk about magic. Woman and man, we're going to talk about the mysteries. This is for the mystics, the alchemists, the magicians, all my Houdinis out there, all my Bruce Lees. Yeah, he was a magician. You know, this is for all my musicians, all my masters of ceremonies, all those women out there that understand the power of their womb, which is a magical stage. This is for you. This is for the young people, for the babies, for the youth, for the children out there. I get a lot of emails from parents, and they tell me that, and for some children as well, that their children look up to me. And they're like, yo, I want to be a magician. Like Ram Hotep talks about a lot of magic in his videos, and I want to be a magician when I grow up. And it's kind of like taboo. It's kind of like in our society, especially amongst melanated people, it's very taboo. Like saying magic and talking about magic is something like it's not cool. Like it's spooky. It's not real. And we got a lot of metaphysicians out there even that believe the same thing. So you guys, you want to be all into metaphysics and things of that nature, but a lot of people are left brain. They're textbook. They're like 1, 2, 3. Everything has to be in this left brain logical order, and if it goes against your logic and reason, it's not real. However, the ancient Atlanteans didn't get to where they got from being textbook. The ancient Egyptians didn't get to where they got and built those pyramids from being textbook. They were magicians. The ancient Mayans, they didn't disappear from this planet and figure out a way to disappear without understanding these principles of magic. So what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm going to give out 13 keywords in becoming a good magician, 13 words that you're going to have to implement. You can give your own definitions to these words, but I'll give my definitions to each one, but these are going to be 13 words you're going to have to implement if you want to become a good magician. If you want to become that shero or that hero, you're going to have to understand these 13 words. And the first word is going to be change. Change. Human beings are creatures of habit. Human beings run from change. The concept of magic is based upon change. And the reason why we really haven't seen a lot of good magicians in this day and time is because people are not willing to change. I have to get on myself in regards to this a lot because I'm a Leo fixed sign. And Leos are magicians, but only when we're open to change. We're a fixed sign, meaning that we like things to be stable. We like things to be the same. You know, we're creatures of habit, very much. But to be a good magician, you're going to have to learn how to balance your nature of doing things habitually and learn how to be a creature of habitual change. So change will be the number one word and the word that I use to build upon based upon the other principles of magic that I want to talk about. Now the second word that I want to give you guys is your vantage point, your angle, your perspective. So you have to have a vantage point. You have to have and see yourself when you do your ritual. You have to see and know your angle. Who are you? You have to identify yourself. What is your identity in this particular magical ritual and spell? And you have to know that once you cast your lot, once you do your first visualization technique, once you set up your altar and you chant your magical words, and once the magic starts to play out in your physical life, because magic plays out, you have to realize that your role may change. It's just like the concept of you work at a restaurant and you may be a waiter at this restaurant, and you like, that's what I am, I'm a waiter. But if you're a magician, you can manifest more money and realize that based upon your vantage point, yeah, you're a waiter, that's your role, but you may be a psychologist. You may be a person that has to talk to your different tables and your different clients, because you have to look at your tables like clients, and you may have to sympathize with them. You may have to be more sympathetic. You may have to have conversations. You may be a comedian. Even though you're a waiter, you may have to use comedy or use your angles. Your vantage point may change, is what I'm pointing out here, is that your vantage point may change throughout the ritual, but at the end of the day, you're a waiter. That's who you are. Ultimately, you have to get tips. And you want to increase your tips and work magic to increase your tips, you have to realize that your vantage point is going to change. You have to know your vantage point and know who you are first, and realize from the outside of yourself. That's why knowing your vantage point is important. You have to realize from looking at yourself from the outside in, like, okay, I'm a waiter, so how am I going to project myself to people? The same thing with an actor, a musician, or anything like that. We have a lot of actors that watch the channel, so I'm throwing it out there. A ball player, an athlete. You have to know who you are. You're a ball player, but what's your position? Are you the point guard? You're a football player. What's your position? Are you a running back? Are you a receiver? So you have to know your vantage point. You have to identify yourself in this ritual. And even when you visualize and do your visualization techniques, you have to see your vantage point. See yourself in that vantage point from third person. A good magician, when you deal with visualization techniques, sees their self from third person. So they're looking at their self. That's when you get really good as far as visualizing and manifesting through visualization, which is really the highest form of magic. Now, the third word that I'll give you guys is that you need to have your materials. You need to have your things. You need to have your tools. See, magic is a craft. We call it the craft. It's an art. And every artist has their tools. The musician, your tool is your voice. For the actor, your tool is yourself. The clothes that you wear. Your jewelry, and whatever you're going to use in this particular magical ritual. You need to have your things. For one that is a master of ceremony and working altar type of magic, you're going to need, say for instance, if you're setting up a money altar, you're going to need certain things. You're going to need your feathers. You're going to need your coinage from all over the world. You're going to need your water. You're going to need your paper notes. You're going to need your bank statements. Yeah, you need bank statements when you set up altars, money altars. I got a really good money altar ritual on my website that walks you through how Ram Hotep would design his altar, and how I do things. So you always need things. You need your tools. At the end of the day, you're always going to need them. Your tools is what is going to help to attract you the things, the greater things that you want. You want $1 million, but you don't have your tools together. You might be living in a gutter somewhere, and you want to do $1 million money ritual, but at the end of the day, you stuck living in a gutter somewhere. You're going to have to use the tools and things you have around you and use those things and make them work. Use your resources and make them work for you so you can get more resources. And always keep your things in useful, basically always use all the things that you have. If you're the type of person that is a pack rat and it has a lot of things and a lot of material and they're not being put to use, you're working against yourself, because everything in your life has energy to it. So if you keep a lot of stuff and it's not being put to use and you're trying to get more stuff, you need to get rid of some stuff. And I'll go into that in a minute. So you always got to have your things and always keep your things in use. And when you get more things, put those in use. Keep everything working. Now, the fourth word that I'll give you guys is thought, reason, logic. Thoth, or Zehuti, Zehuti, some call him Zehuti, was the chief magician. And this is why thought is very important, because in the Emerald Tablet you'll notice that it talks a lot about your thought. What is your reason? Your thoughts have to align with the particular thing or the particular situation or the particular event that you're trying to manifest. You have to be clear-minded. And your thoughts have to align with that thing. So you can't, this is why the law of attraction, they only tell you one thing in the law of attraction. I'm about to give you 13 words. They focus all on thought and intentions and manifesting through that. And that's okay, because you can, with your thoughts alone, manifest just with your thoughts alone. The good thing about this video is that each word I'm going to give you, you can manifest from just that word. I'm going to give you 13, but you can manifest from just that word alone and become a magician just off working with that one principle. But with the principle of thought, your thoughts have to align. You have to be clear, and you have to have a reason. See, thoughts go into reason. Like a series of thoughts become what you call reason. Like let me reason with you today. In order for me to reason with you today, I have to present to you a certain amount of thoughts, and they have to be in line with my reason. So all of your thoughts have to be in line with the reason why you want to manifest this particular thing. Very key in understanding magic, no matter if it's ceremonial magic, visualization techniques, or setting up an altar, even if you're putting together a song or a movie, if you're a script writer. You have to have a series of thoughts that line up together and coincide together to create an elaborate magical ritual. Because script writers and actors and things of that nature, you guys are all magicians. That's what people try to realize. And a lot of people in Hollywood, they realize that. That's why they're successful. But you have to have clear thoughts and be clear-minded. Now, the fifth thing that I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about your home, your environment. Very key. You have to have a place like a root when it comes to magic. Some people call magic working a root in the voodoo school of thought. And you have to have a base. And what is this base? What am I talking about? You have to have somewhere you can always go back to revisit to when your magical ritual, it may take days to play out, it may take years to play out, but you have to have that place or that certain location or somewhere you can always go back to going back to your roots, to go back to the very essence, to rework it, to fine tune it, to tweak it. Some people may call this your headquarters. This is why in every field, no matter what you do, I don't care what you do for a living, you always have a base in what you do. I don't care if you're a waiter. If you're a waiter, you have a certain area in the restaurant that you go to get your head right. If you're a server or something like that. If you are a script writer, if you're a writer or something like that, you have a certain place you may choose to go to and write. And in this place, this is your base. And your base or your route may change based on each ritual. For some movies, you may want to go off into the woods and write. For other movies, you may need to be in a city where a bunch of fast cars are going by, and then you do more writing and your energy's better there. See, this is why all my videos, we work magic in these videos. I don't write my videos down. I don't do any writing. It's a magical channel. 2013 has been a magical year for me. That's why I'm doing this video as well. And I started out in one base and in one place, but you notice I did a lot of moving around in 2013. This is because my videos are mostly channels, and depending on where I'm at, I channel in different types of energy and different types of videos and ideas come to my mind. So at the end of the day, my root, my base changes. And this is how I get my inspiration. And it's the same thing with any type of magic you're doing. See, I'm doing magic and working these videos. These videos are going somewhere. This is not just happening for no reason. I'm going somewhere with this thing. And you guys are going to see it play out. Be patient and bear with me. But you guys are going to see it play out. I'm not just here to make YouTube videos. I do a lot. But it all has to come together a certain kind of way. But I'm bringing all this up because at the end of the day, my base and my root, this is probably one of the most important parts of working magic, and one of the most important words is it changes, but you need one. You need a base of operations. Some people may be your altar. Some people may be a tree that you go up under and sit up under. You don't have to have a lot of money to have. Some people, it may be a mansion if you got money like that and you're trying to work a bigger ritual. But at the end of the day, you need a place. Some people may be a city that they like to go to. You need a space. All magic performs itself out in a space or a place or a base or a root. Now, the sixth thing that I'm going to talk about is creativity. Gotta be creative, man and woman. Gotta be a manipulator. Creativity is basically manipulating events, not manipulating people. You don't need to manipulate people to manifest anything. You got to remember, the people that come into your life, you don't have to play on them. See, a lot of people, they get into magic, they want to manipulate people, and that's black magic. I mean, don't get me wrong, all magic, whether you're doing white magic or black magic, at the end of the day, you can use these same principles to apply to black magic or white magic. But I'm talking about white magic here. I'm not promoting black magic here. But at the end of the day, you got to be creative. To me, creativity is your ability to manipulate things that are already in existence and things that are around you, and to make these things into what you want them to be. For instance, I want to be creative and I want to build myself a home, but around me all I see is sand. How am I going to build a home when there's sand around me? I'm going to have to use sand and things around me to build this particular home. The Egyptians were creative. You notice they did a lot of writing, a lot of drawing. When they built the ancient pyramids, the reason why they were able to do this is because of their creativity. Their ability, creativity is their ability to use things that are around you and ideas, but you put together these ideas and make them work in a certain way, and that's creativity. There's nothing new under the sun. We realize that. Sand is sand. Bricks are bricks. Thoughts are thoughts. But when you put these thoughts together in your way, so you're the magician. When you do them in your way, this is when you become creative. So say, for instance, even this video, I'm talking about magic, but I'm being creative in it because of the fact that I'm speaking on magic based upon certain principles and things that you understand, and I'm bringing them together to create a magical ritual. So you have to be creative in the things that you do. Creativity is very important. You're making a song. There's nothing creative about making a club banger. We know what the concept of a club banger is, but where the creativity comes into play is that what type of club banger is it? This is why a lot of magicians, they win awards and they win Grammys, is because, yeah, they made a club banger, but they turned a song that maybe wasn't supposed to be a club banger. They could have took a conscious song and made that into a club banger. See, that's what creativity is all about, is using what you have around you, but then demonstrating something new with it. You got to be creative. You got to be creative. That's the sixth thing. Now, number seventh key word in manifesting is you have to work. Have to work. A lot of people, they think magic is all about chanting a few magical words, visualizing a few beautiful things, setting up a beautiful altar, working their rituals. See, their left brain. And they think their left brain, when they're planning around the right brain reality, and they think, because I did all of this, okay, now it's supposed to work. It doesn't work like that, because when you cast your lot, or when you visualize the thing that you want, what you have to realize is that your life is going to start to change. Going back to that change again, that's the root of this video. And the first word is because your life is going to change. So what you manifest, or what you think about, and the ideas that you think about, or the lots that you cast, or the libations that you pour to your ancestors, it's going to change your life. And it's going to require work so that you can get to the thing that you want. So say, for instance, you're doing a ritual to manifest your twin flame, your soulmate. What you have to realize, beloved magician, is that there's work to do to get to where you're at. You may be somewhere, say for instance, your twin flame, you don't know what your twin flame is at that point when you say, I want mine. You just know you want your twin flame. Your twin flame may be some celebrity with millions of dollars. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not saying it is, because I don't want people to get all starstruck, but I'm just using this for an example. You may be a nobody. Your twin flame may be some form of celebrity with like millions of dollars. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to get yourself to a point to where they would even be attracted to you. So there's work to do. And you might not realize that when you first do the ritual. You might just say, I just want my twin flame, so I'm going to do a twin flame love ritual. Not even realizing that there's going to be smaller works that you have to do and things that you have to do, which is a part of the magical ritual, though, to get to the point where you get your twin flame. So the beauty in magic is that you're not just doing mundane work on a day-to-day basis. We all work every day. We go to work every day, but you're working based upon a ritual to manifest a certain thing. So you may have to go take up a job for a minute. Say, for instance, if you do a ritual and say that I want to be a musician. I'm going to do this ritual to put together so I can become a musician. But right now, I'm living at home with my mama. You may have to take up a job. You like, well, that didn't have nothing to do with me being a musician. I thought I was supposed to do the ritual, and the next thing I know, that Jay-Z or Russell Simmons or somebody like that's supposed to hit me up on the phone, or Will Smith or somebody like that's supposed to just hit me up on the phone, and then I'm gonna just make it. Or I'm supposed to just do a demo, go to the studio real quick. That's the work I gotta do. Just go to the studio real quick, put together a few songs, and I'm gonna make it, right, Rom Hotel? No, wrong. Because you may have to get yourself together and get certain things so that you can get more things to even be able to attract someone like that. Or your path may be you might not be able to depend on Jay-Z or Russell Simmons to make it. You may have to make it on. You may be destined to be an independent musician. You may not know that going in, but that may be your destiny. So you're going to have to learn independence. So maybe that's why you're working this job or this gig. It's because you're learning how to be independent and take care of your business. And you're learning how to sign contracts and things of that nature and create contracts. Because maybe you're going to be the one creating the contracts and having other people sign. So you always got to have and understand the work, the great work. This is what we in Magick, we call it the great work, because it's not mundane work. It's great work that you're going to have to do to get to where you're going. Very key, the work. The 8th thing is going to be the law. You have to understand universal law to manifest things. Lawyers are artists and magicians. And you may think, well, a lawyer's a left brain, witty, smart guy. And I'm not saying they're not smart, but most of the time smarts to us is somebody that has a whole bunch of books and they're really left brain and they do things textbook style. When a lawyer is an artist, a good lawyer is a person that understands the law from a left brain perspective. There's always a left brain aspect to everything we do because we're human beings. But he learns the magical part is he can make these laws work to win a case, and each case is different. So being a good lawyer is an art. A scientist is an artist. She experiments. And she understands certain laws. Say, for instance, a scientist, a botanist, someone that studies botany. They understand how plants grow, the basis of it, but the scientific aspect may come in, or the artist aspect may come in. Okay, so what happens if I water my plant instead of using regular water? What happens if I use alkaline water to water my plant? How fast would it grow? 9.0. I mean, water that's basically 9 on the acidic alkaline scale. A 9 pH. Excuse me, the word wasn't coming to me. Water that has a pH level of 9. What if I use that type of water and water with that, the plant with that, versus using just some regular water, some distilled water that has no alkalinity to it? What's going to happen? That's where the magic comes in. And so a scientist is a magician as well. That's right, magician as well. So whatever you do, you have to understand the law, though. The basic laws. And these basic laws, for most magicians, there's understanding universal law. The law of correspondence. I want to attract my lover, my twin flame. So what do I have to do to correspond with him or her? I want to make $1 million, but I have to understand the law of polarity. Because if I make $1 million, I have to understand what's going to be the equal and opposite reaction. I'm going to get more into that on the next law. But what's going to be the equal and opposite reaction of me doing the spell to attract $1 million? What's going to come on the opposite end of that? And that's going to be your opponent now. When we talk about opposites in the Matrix, this is going to become your opponent. Who's going to be my opponent after this spell? You always got to realize the laws. Because they say be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. But a magician, they realize that. So they realize that if I understand the laws, I can kind of control certain things. If I understand universal law, so I know that I'm asking for this, I might get it. That's why they say be careful, because you're going to get that and you're going to get a lot of other shit with it too. It's like my man Hova said, I got 99 problems. You're going to get 99 problems when doing a magical ritual just because you wanted some money. He was saying, I got 99 problems, talking about a lot of financial stuff. He just wanted money. Very materialistic on that particular song. And he said, a bitch ain't one. Meaning that he got plenty of women coming at him. Plenty of them, but what is their intentions? See, that's the problem. How come this woman's coming at me? It's because you wanted that money. So you got to understand the law so that you can control these things. You understand universal laws. And there's different other universal laws I won't go into here, the law of attraction and all of that. But I have a video that's on universal law and the Kabbalion I did in 2012. I suggest you guys subscribe to my channel and look that up. Now the next thing that you want to understand in magic is secrecy. Secrecy, which is the ninth thing. See, people watch my channel and they're like, man, you giving out all these deep spells and rituals and you're just making all this stuff available to the public. You're gonna get in trouble. You're giving out too much. I'm not really giving out anything, because if a person that's deep in magic knows that it's a lot of stuff I don't talk about. A lot of stuff I don't talk about. And if I do talk about certain things, I do it on a certain time basis, based on when certain things are happening. So in a way, I'm being secret without you guys realizing it. I'm using that for an example because secrecy is not what you guys think that it is. So a lot of times people think being secret is not telling somebody something, which is a part of it. When you cast your light, when you visualize what you want, you shouldn't go out into broadcast what you're trying to do in general, but I'm speaking on secrecy on a deeper level. See, you can cloak yourself in secrecy by doing things in plain sight. See, this is how the elitists do it. This is how the illuminated person does it. The illuminated person knows and understands that the best place to hide something from someone is in plain sight. Because if I go looking for something in a room, I'm going to go looking in the cracks and crevices for something, but I'm not going to look at something that's right in front of me. See, a good artist knows this. This goes back to the art aspect. So you got to be secret in what you do. You have to understand that when you're a magician, this is not a religion in the sense that you're trying to convert people. Unless that's your magical ritual, you want to get a bunch of converts. But in general, you're not really supposed to convert anyone to magic. So you may have to cloak yourself in secrecy when you're doing certain rituals and move in a certain way to do what you're trying to do. You can't let, you're trying to make $1 million. You can't go around talking about it and broadcast like, yeah, I'm doing this magical ritual to make $1 million and get on all this jewelry. And you better move him as a mystic. You better move and look like you're doing one thing, even though you're trying to do another. That's real secrecy. See, it's not about not just speaking. That's one aspect to it, but it's about doing things. And you might speak, actually, even, and you might be speaking in code, in encrypted language. You might be speaking in secrecy. So a lot of people ain't ready for that. You might be speaking about a thing in secrecy. So secrecy is not always not talking. So people say, well, you're being a whistleblower. You're talking about this, and you talked about the NSA and stuff like that. You're leaking a lot of secrets. I'm actually not, because I know a lot more that I don't talk about. So I'm doing things in a certain way based on secrecy. I'm still living true to the laws of secrecy, even though I'm talking about a thing. So Ram Hotep is just not a big mouth. My words, and I realize my words have power. And you guys don't realize it, but I think about things before I say them really quickly. But I try to think about, I was taught by one of my teachers, think about a thing at least 5 times before you speak it. So I try to do that, and I realize in a setting, I can say certain things in one setting, but in another setting, I may not be able to say those things. So secrecy is very important. Now, the 10th thing in magic is recognition. The word recognition. And recognition is being able to recognize what's going on in the course of the ritual playing out. In Cali, they say, fool, you better recognize. I'm using that for an example because they don't realize that's a part of magic. You better recognize what's going on and when your rituals, and what part of your ritual you're in, and recognize that the fact that it's working or not working, or recognize your angle in it. You have to be very cognizant. So recognition is about you being aware, being conscious even of the ritual, knowing that you're in the magical ritual. Always stay conscious of that. After you do your ritual, don't just go back to your life and think that it's not working. So you may do a ritual, for instance, I'll give you guys an example of recognition, a money ritual for $1 million. I'm going to keep using that because a lot of people, they do money rituals and people can relate to that. So you may do a money ritual for $1 million. And you may lose all your money the next day after you did the ritual. And you may be like, man, it's not working. It's not working. So your thoughts aren't even aligned with it. You better recognize that maybe that money that you lost was actually a blockage, a 3D blockage that was blocking you from getting $1 million. Maybe it was the money, as you may have had a certain amount of money as a nest egg and as a cushion, and that was keeping you too locked into comfortability, Remember I said magic is all about change. We're creatures of change. Or creatures of habit, I'm sorry, but we have to learn how to accept change to become a good magician. So in essence, we have to become creatures of change. So you lose the money. What you have to recognize here is that you lose this money, but you can recognize that maybe that was a blockage or a barrier that was stopping you from getting what you want. You do a ritual to attract your twin flame, and you may have someone in mind that's in your life right now. You may think that's your twin flame, but they don't know you, and you're trying to attract them so that they become closer to you, and they may leave your life. You're like, hold on, I did a ritual to attract my twin flame. What happened? Maybe you need to recognize the ritual, trying to get you to recognize that that wasn't your twin flame, that someone else is. That's why that person left your life, and the ritual was a part of that. It was the very reason that happened. So you got to recognize that's the 10th thing. The 11th thing is you have to have intent. I talk about this a lot in another video I did on magic. You have to have a purpose. You have to have a cause. Your intentions are very important. And your intentions, what I say here is, now I'll go to the next thing, because my time's running short, but your intentions are very important on the grand scheme of things and on the macro aspect of the ritual, but then you have the micro aspect. So you may have multiple intentions is what I'm saying. You may have intentions of attracting a soulmate or a twin flame, but within that, your intentions may change over the course of days, months, to get to the point where you attract your twin flame or soulmate, because you may have to now put your intent into changing your appearance, put your intent into getting into another type of career, because maybe your soulmate or twin flame is in this career. And what you got to remember is that this career over here may not be what you're into, but what you got to remember is that when you're trying to attract your twin flame and your soulmate, it's all about the career it's all about the life purpose aspect of it. So it's not really about just laying up with a twin flame or a soulmate and just having sex and making a bunch of babies. A twin flame, especially a twin flame relationship, is about sharing your relationship with the world. So in order to get to the point where you attract him or her, you may have to be in that particular field that you guys are going to work in and share your relationship in before you even meet him or her. So your intent, you may have a level, you may have a series of smaller intents and intentions to get to the greater intent and purpose, which is to attract your twin flame or soulmate. So intention and purpose is very key, which is the 11th thing. Now, the 12th thing in working your magic is that you have to realize that you're the beneficiary. You are the benefactor at the end of the day. And this may seem, superficial, but it's not. You have to realize the benefits that you've been receiving and acknowledge them if you want the ritual to keep working. And thank the ancestors. And pour out libations to the higher entities or whatever, even to your own self. Thank yourself. But basically pay homage to the ritual. Go back to your roots, wherever you work your magic at, and put something on your altar every time a part of your ritual manifests. You get closer to your goal. You're the benefactor, you're the beneficiary, but if you don't realize that and are conscious of that when you're working your ritual, then it may work against you, or it may stop working. The ritual may turn itself off because you're not even realizing the benefits from the ritual. So you always have to be cognizant and conscious of the benefits. Being a good magician is about being conscious. It's about being cognizant. It's about being aware. And last but not least, the last word that I'll give is that you have to make sacrifices. Sacrifice will be my last word. And all magic requires a sacrifice. I'm going to do a video on sacrifice, and I'm going to go more into it, but I'll give you guys an example. Bringing a child into this world, bringing a baby into this world requires the sacrifice of a male. He has to sacrifice his sperm. This is a form of a blood sacrifice because there's blood within the sperm. And bringing a child into this world is very much a magical ritual. It's a very creative process, actually. And when a man spills his sperm, he's losing a lot of his creativity. He's losing a lot of his chi. He's losing his internal magic. A lot of you guys never held semen in for a period of time. You don't really know what this is as an adult. This is why you aren't creative anymore. As a little boy, you were super creative because you weren't jacking off and you weren't doing certain things, so you were withholding your semen. And your semen is the basis of your creativity, because what happens is that many people don't notice, but your semen, through a course and a process, travels and circulates from your brain, goes up to your brain. If you can channel the powers and energies of your semen, not your semen itself, but the powers and energies of your semen is locked into your kundalini. And when you don't spill semen, your kundalini increases and this goes into your brain. And what happens is, or into your head, and it can cycle back around like a circle. And this increases your creativity. This increases your psychic capabilities. This is how you can become intuitive, just like a woman. Like they say, women are more intuitive than men, and they're more, they're more magical than men because they have the womb. And a lot of times they are. But a man, I believe, can become just as magical as a woman if he learns how to deal with his semen. And you can use your semen too when you ejaculate as well. Now, don't get it twisted. When you ejaculate as well, that's a form of magic, and you can use that energy to turn on a lot of creative energy and juices as well. But when you do it over time, it stops working. The ejaculation process, if you do this once, maybe in a month, it's way more magical than doing it every day. Or if you do it maybe once in a week, start off like that. I mean, if you guys are busting, some people are busting 3-4 nuts a day, young people. So, I mean, you got to start when you can start. So say, for instance, you maybe ejaculate once in a week. You'll notice within that week, you're more creative. Your creative juices are flowing. You're like a little boy. That childhood creativity and spirit is within you. And this is because your semen is a part of your blood and a part of your creative process. But there's a sacrifice that has to be made. That's what I'm talking about here on the last point. There's a sacrifice that has to be made within the semen. Within spilling the semen to bring the child into the world. There's always a sacrifice. You might want $1 million. And what you don't realize is you're going to have to sacrifice or give somebody something in order to get what you want. Because magic is a give or take relationship, always taking place. So a lot of people, they want money, but they're misers, they're Scrooges. You don't want to give anybody anything. You're not a magician, because a real magician is feeding off of energy. And you know that when I give someone something, and then the happiness and the joy that they experience from me giving them something, I take that back into my aura, and an alchemical process takes place. And what happens is that I'll be able to manifest more off of the energy I got back from them being happy from what I gave them. So notice it's a give or take relationship. But still, a sacrifice has to take place. Some people, they deal in the concept of blood sacrifice. That's dark magic. That's dark magic. Remember, I talked about there's the white magic, like white throne type of magic, and then there's black magic. And remember, these principles can be interchangeable in between white magic and black magic. So, I mean, if that's what you guys are doing, is doing black magic, that's on you. But a lot of black magicians, they don't realize they create a lot of negative karma for themselves. And the higher magicians, that people that are practicing magic on a higher level, know that they don't really ever have to practice black magic to be an effective magician. It's only a person that's dark in mindset and ignorant, really, and has a certain mindset that feels like they need to practice that because it's more power in that. It's not necessarily true. I mean, you can practice white magic, left-hand path white magic, and still be on the left-hand path, and you can practice right-hand path white magic. So, and then there is a concept of, black magic. I'll do a video on that, because there is a concept in black magic to where you can practice black magic and work right-hand rituals through it. Definitely, to teach lessons through it. There is a lesson in death. The things that happen to God is a magician. So if God takes someone out your life, and that may seem very dark, or maybe that person was taken out of your life for a reason, because the energy that person had was blocking you from getting to where you were at. So a lot of times God will work what you would consider maybe a dark ritual for a light outcome. Some people look for light in very dark places. So I'm not against that, but I'm just saying I'm not here to promote that particular concept here on this particular episode or segment. But I will do a video on sacrifice, talk more about that. But at the end of the day, there's always got to be a sacrifice. You always have to give something in order to get something here in this matrix. That's just the way it works. So I wanted to do this episode and segment because, like I was saying earlier, 2013 has been a magical year for me. I just want to offer out a few, key words and things that I reflect over every day. This stuff that I think over every day. When I work my rituals and spells, I'm very conscious of the things that I do. And as much as I talk about magic, I don't do a lot of rituals and spells on it. I don't just wake up every day and I'm about to do a ritual today. I'm about to do a ritual. No. I might do one ritual and then keep playing it out because I know how to keep perpetuating the ritual. And I might keep playing it out over the course of 4 or 5 months because I want to keep it going, rolling and cycling around versus doing a ritual every single day. So you really don't have to do that. What you have to understand is that magic is best when you build upon the same ritual and spell, and that's what I'm really revealing to you here in this episode and segment. Because in 2013, my life started out one way. It started out in a very dark place, and where I'm at now is very much more of a light place. And I wouldn't be there, and I knew where I needed to get, but I didn't know where I was going to end up and how I was going to end up there. So I had to be open-minded to to unlimited possibilities, to infinite possibilities. And I would have never got to where I'm at now had I not accepted change. That's why 2013 has been the most magical year for me, because it represented change. And I hope you guys took advantage of this, the year of the snake, the Chinese year of the snake, 2013. I hope you guys took advantage of this. I hope you guys learned something from this year. I hope you guys learned something from these rituals I put out this year, these videos I put out this year. Next year is going to be even more amazing. I mean, I have some amazing videos planned. I'm going to kind of switch the angle a little bit. Still talking about astrology, 13 signs astrology, still giving out information on ETs, but we're going to take it to the next level because this is leading to something. So you guys stay in tune. This is going to lead up to something. So you guys hang around and you stick around, because here on 13 Signs Astrology, we make movies. This is epic. This is a great ritual playing itself out right in front of you. This is something that's predestined to happen. Written. This was written by other people, and we're fulfilling it. We're the fulfillers of a magical ritual. This is why it's so magical. We're fulfillment. And I don't say that to brag or boast. I say that to let you guys know how deep magic is. I share this with you to let you know that there are magicians before us that wrote about these things, not even knowing how it was going to get fulfilled, and we are fulfilling and showing you that magic is the only way. It's the best kept secret, so keep it sacred. So until my next video, I do have something else planned for the end of 2013 for you guys, but until my next video, I wish you guys many manifestations on this path of magic.